Guys, we are back for community update number 4, and guess what? We're in person.
We're here.
We're live. We are live and we're ready to do it. Again, Spencer Peterson here with Daniel Tsay. We wore the same sort of jacket today. We knew we were going to be, kind of cohesion as a unit today. So the biggest thing is we're days away from the Toronto Major. We're super excited to be there, but we got a lot of great questions from you guys. Some good ones, some absolutely spicy ones, some ones we may not be able to touch, but the biggest thing is we want to hop into these and we want to give this information back to you guys. What do you think?
I love it. I love what we're doing this time where we're taking in the fan questions. We do appreciate everyone that submitted. We read through them all. We're excited to answer a couple of them. We're not going to get to all of them today, but we do appreciate everyone that sent in questions.
Let's start rolling through them.
Let's do it.
The biggest thing that everybody wants to know is champs, location, date, all that stuff. We saw a tweet from Merck, our own talent. We saw a tweet from Zombie Mamba talking about it. The world wants to know, where is champs? Where will it be? When will it be?
Zombie Mamba, greatest name ever.
One of the greatest.
Champs, listen, we hear you loud and clear. One of the things we need to do is get the information about champs, the when and the where, out to our fans well in advance so you all can prepare. So we are focused on this, and you can expect some more information in the next couple weeks.
I think moving on to our next topic, we really got a lot of conversation about challengers. What's going on with the scene? What can we do better about it? We saw some of our pros talking about it, Clay, Kismet. I think the big thing that people want to know is how we view challengers and what's kind of the future of that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And like you said, it was one of the most requested topics, right? And so I think what's probably very important is here at the top, let's just remind everyone of how we view the goal of challengers. And very simply put, that is to develop and surface pro-level talent to the Call of Duty League. And we do so through several stages of competition, right? We have our Challenger Cups, our Challengers Elite program, and then now our Challengers Open Lands. So altogether, that is the way we make sure that we have pro-level talent at the Call of Duty League.
Yeah, I think you hit on a few things there that are great. And I think the Cups, Elite, and a few of those things are what makes Challengers great. And what are some things that we're thinking about doing better in the future, or things that we're really working on to make the product as a whole a lot better?
Yeah, I mean, a little less product related, but equally important. I think one is communication, and getting the information about what the program is well in advance. So like this year, as an example, we didn't have full information on our Challenger Open Lands at the beginning of the season. That's something that we want to target for next year for sure, as well as where's finals and all that stuff. Even one thing we've noticed from the Pro-Am Classic, this, from a couple weeks ago, that we've taken to heart and has been, our CDL teams actually provided us feedback, is actually putting the AMs on the main stage. We weren't able to provide that even for our pro teams, which is why we didn't have that in the first place. But I think going forward, we want to have those AMs on the main stage in those primetime broadcasts.
Yeah.
So providing better attention in those high caliber moments for the AMs is definitely a goal of ours.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody see clips of Scrappy yelling on Twitter. I think they want to see that man on main stage yelling at a pro, at Optic or whoever it is. But yeah, I think that's another big win too. But I think there's a numerous of other things too. We're talking about Pro-Am Classic. We're talking about Elite. Those players get in the league, and I think it's goes without saying that it's a great program too. I mean, shouldn't we build on that?
Yeah, and listen, I think it's important to not forget what we've done to get the program where it is today, right? There's a number of very tangible things we've done to Cups, Elite, the Opens. In Cups, from this year, or last year to this year, we've decreased the amount of Cups, and that was due to direct feedback from our competitors that they felt like they had to compete in too many Cups to have success. We also added LATAM, and I know that region's Cups has been growing at a large clip, which is great to see. With Elite, I mean, that program has really surfaced a lot of pro-level talent to the CDL. I want to say 5 players that participated in 2021 Elite started off the roster in the 2022 season for a CDL team. Yeah. And then actually here within our 2022 season, about 8 Challenger players have actually started a CDL match from Challengers. So it's not just Elite players are starting off the roster at the beginning of the season, but when teams seek to improve their teams in the middle of the season, they're taking from Elite. So it's great to see that progress.
That's the biggest takeaway too, is Challengers are some of our most passionate players and fans, and I think we do want to make them happy. We do want to build on it. So I appreciate a lot of that information. So yeah, I think these guys will be super excited about what's coming in the future.
For sure.
All right, Daniel, let's move on to another topic though. One of the biggest tweets that had the most replies, the most likes and everything on it was the tweet from Call of Duty talking about Modern Warfare 2, asking for people to test the game. Do we have people that want to test it? Are we testing it? What's going on there?
Ooh, I might know a little something about that. Glad to finally be able to talk about it. But a couple weeks ago, we did have a couple pros that were able to go test out the game at Infinity Ward's offices, which was exciting because like we said in our first community update, one of our big goals is to be collaborating with our studios on how to deliver the most entertaining and competitive game as possible. So we were excited to do that a couple weeks ago. And the game was a ton of fun. We had a blast testing out different maps and modes. And then afterwards, the feedback session, it went long. Just seeing the developers and the players riff on how to make the game better and more fun and more competitive was great to see. So listen, we're happy to do it this time. I think this is gonna be the first of a couple that we do. It's the earliest that we've ever been able to test the game. So shout out to Infinity Ward on making it happen and allowing us to test Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And we're excited to continue doing so in the next couple months.
Yeah, listen, I know our pros were super excited to be there. They enjoyed playing the game. I enjoyed playing the game. I mean, they, couldn't kill me on the server, but it was still a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that's a super awesome program, and it's going to be great to see where this one goes. All right, moving on, Daniel. There was a lot of tweets also talking about mid-season, but there was one in particular from Logan Ratliff 16 that said, there is supposed to be another month-long break after Toronto. From the community and the players, people weren't a big fan of that long break. Is there plans to shrink that break at all or not to do it at all?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good one. We think we saw this one pop up a couple times. We will definitely have a shorter break next year. Agree with that. And there is no month-long break after Toronto. I keep saying that, but it's not true. We have 2 weeks of bye, so there is no month-long break.
Really just clears it up. It was just tough to see on the schedule, but yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think another topic we saw a lot of chatter about was LAN events, locations, the future of those. Are you able to provide a little bit of insight into how those locations are chosen and how we know when they're going to be?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We have a bidding process with our teams. We send out a calendar of the season along with a list of requirements we expect out of the host teams and their cities. And then the teams bid. So they'll submit an application, how they would make their majors awesome as their general game plan. And then we review all the different submissions. We choose a winner, and then we tell the teams, and then they get to planning. It's really as simple as that. It requires a lot of time and investment on their part. So I do want to commend our teams, as well as everyone should. Big thank you to Texas, Minnesota, Toronto, and New York and Boston, because they're doing a heck of a job hosting our majors this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've chosen some great ones, and our teams have provided some great events for us thus far. So really excited to see those in the future as well.
All right, Spencer, it's my turn now. You're on the hot seat.
Geez.
I want to ask you a question here, and I'm going to get at RL Eclipse to help me out. They ask, how do you get into the league? For newer players, what's the path they would need to take as an example?
It's a pretty big question, but I think the easiest way to describe this one is you start in rank play. I think having rank play in game is super amazing to have. It's your introduction into CDL, our maps, our rules, and all that stuff. You grab some friends out of rank play, you head into some Challengers Cups, move your way up into Elite. We talked about that earlier. You get maybe a shot into the league, and there you are. You're on the big stage. I think it's as easy as that, but you just got to put in that time.
A lot of time. Okay, Spencer, since you answered that one so well, I got another one for you, all right? So this one, it's going to come from at OZ Bobcat. They ask, how do you guys make decisions on what maps and modes are chosen each year?
Another good one. This one is a two-parter, right? So maps and then modes. So for modes, as a league, we really want to play the same 3 core every year. Make it easier for our fans, make it easier for our players to know. But for modes, or for maps, it's actually as easy as just voting on them. So our pros play the game in all those maps on every single mode early on when the game comes out. They all play, they all give input on them, and we vote. We figure out which ones are the best for competitive play. We figure out which ones, are super exciting to play and fun to watch, and we decide that way. And, when a new map comes in throughout the season, we let them play it, we let them test it. If it's good, we put it in. If it's not, it doesn't make the cut. But that's really it. It's as simple as that.
Driven by the players?
Driven by the players. If, we want to play what they want to play. We want to show what they want to show. So it's perfect. I'm taking the reins back. I'll ask you another question here, talking about finals format. Can we change the one series best of 9s to 2 separate best of 5s in the finals only? His example would be winner's side needs 1 series win and loser side needs 2 series wins instead of 1 best of 9 series. What do you think about that one?
I think this is going to be a controversial one.
Maybe a little bit.
But, we have seen this question come up all throughout, the last couple months, the season. So I think it's important that we just talk about it once and for all, right? I think what I see out there in the community as the reason why we've made this change in the first place, one is that the best of 9 is easier to understand than the concept of a bracket reset. And I do agree with that, right? Like it is, once you win 5 matches, you win the entire series. That is an easier concept for a more casual audience. But it's not really the biggest reason why we have a best of 9. I would actually say more so on the competitive side, being an entire match up in a finals is too big of a competitive advantage. And that's one of the reasons why we wouldn't have 2 best of 5s versus a best of 9. Last thing I'd say, Spencer, is just when you think about the product itself from an entertainment perspective, a broadcast perspective, a fan perspective, it would feel really bad for a team to 3-0 in a best of 5 and the finals is over in 45 minutes. It's very lackluster. It's a whimper to end the season in what should be an apex moment. And so with the best of 9, you're gonna get a meatier matchup and overall a more satisfying result.
You're playing for $1.5 million in a finals. You definitely want to have more maps to, shoot your best shot, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, Spencer. Well, I want to ask, what about it works for you?
What?
What about it works for you?
Well, I was just playing snipers with my buddies and I just got good.
I got good.
I mean, first of all, what a gem. Thank you for that question. Shout out Crim6, but all-time moment by far, all time.
Cringe.
All right, so Daniel, actually, I just got handed this question from production.
Okay.
It's a bonus question, and it's from our guy S6 Ridic that says, what is the hardest thing about your job?
It's going to get too therapeutic here if I start really getting into you.
I don't have that much time.
Short and sweet would have to be just stakeholder management. I think we deal with a lot of different parties, whether it's our players, the teams, our fans, internally. Everyone has an opinion on what we should be doing. And so just figuring out what the right answer is, coming to an answer and helping get everyone on board is probably the toughest part.
I mean, trust me, I know how hard that can be.
Well, Spence, let me throw it back at you. What's the hardest thing about your job?
I think dealing with accuracy and attach every day probably takes the cake, but on the real, same kind of thing as you is our players have so many different personalities, different needs, that balancing those guys every day, I think is such a task that I actually value, but it is one of those things that's hard every day to do, but I love it. So shout out to those guys for being so awesome all the time too.
You do a great job at it.
All right, thank you. Listen, we had a lot of great questions come in. Shout out to you guys for sending these in, and we went through a lot of great information today. But, before we get out of here, is there anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, thank you to the fans. I do want to reiterate that. The last thing I'd say is we're at a very interesting part of our season, super exciting. Just wrapped up Major 3 qualifiers, and so we're in the second half of the season. Stakes are at an all-time high, figuring out who's getting into the playoffs. And we're just a couple days away from our Toronto Major, June 2nd to 5th. Tune in for sure. But until then, we'll see you there. Have a great day. Oh my God.
Goodbye.
See ya. We appreciate you all watching today's community update.
It's been a lot of fun.
We'll see you in Toronto.